not
This
panhandling.
panhandle. You can stand that.
It's
City
not-
ordinance
it's not
is.
panhandling.
I'm gonna go ahead and put you on notice.
City
I'm
ordinance
engaged.
is.
I'm gonna go ahead and put you on notice that I'm engaged in this protected by the First Amendment.
correct.
I have not asked for a single dollar.
Nobody's
I have
given me
not
a
asked
dollar.
for a single
I'm
dollar.
here to spread a message.
I'm here to spread a message. God bless the homeless. No, I did not. It's on video. No, I did not. It's on. I said God bless the homeless vets. I said God bless the homeless vets.
Go ahead and get a supervisor up here.
Okay, so
Go ahead and get a supervisor.
I said God bless the homeless vets is the only thing I said. God bless the homeless vets. If you want to go ahead and take this to another place, take it to another place. I'm engaged in a constitutionally protected activity. I'm engaged in a constitutionally protected public forum. And I'm exercising my freedom of speech. And I'm exercising my freedom of religion. My freedom of speech. I'm peacefully assembled. My freedom of religion. I'm peacefully assembled. You can't do a thing about it.
Okay.
Because I'm not asking for money.
So here's the deal.
Okay. Because I'm not asking for money.
Right? So here's the deal.
I'm not panhandling.
Right? There is a panhandle.
I have not asked for a dollar.
Okay.
I have not asked for a dollar. What's your name and badge number? I've not asked for a dollar. What's your name and badge number? What's your name and badge number? All right. Let me know if you can hear me. Is it bugged out? Hello? All right, I guess you can hear me now. So I was hoping to have the background music playing, which I got right here behind me with the Adobe Audition, and it's apparently let's see, let me try something real quickly. All right, let me try this. Check. It's not that. Sorry about that, folks. I may just have to go ahead and go without the background music and just record it anyways, but let's see. Okay. All right. Let's try this again. All right. Let's try this again. All right. Well, it's not going to play the background music. Screw it. Not going to be as fun for y'all, but it'll have it on there whenever I mix it. Oh. Turn this off on the phone. All right. Episode 2. May 2017. 31 days. That's all it took to try to destroy everything I'd built, everything I believed in, everything I was fighting for. In episode 1, I told you about Lance Corporal Bradley Faust, how the Marine Corps rewrote his suicide as a training accident, how that night at Camp Devil Dog taught me institutions protect themselves before they protect truth. I told you about my FOIA fight, about pushing back on the official narrative, about getting the documents that prove policy changes had been made, even if no one would admit why. But I didn't tell you what happened next. What I didn't tell you was the price I paid for asking questions. By April 2017, I was living in Oxford, Mississippi, fighting custody battles, a lawsuit with the leasing company, pushing for Marine Corps records about Bradley Faust's death, and the flag and monument fight that was boiling over. The pressure wasn't only in the shadows anymore. It was about to move into the light. This is episode 2 of the RICO tapes. This is the story of May 2017, the month they tried to silence me. May 1st, 2017, a Monday, in Lafayette County. Warm enough to make you want to be seen. I was carrying the Mississippi state flag, not the American flag, the Mississippi state flag. The flag removed from Oxford city property after a referendum authored by board member Robin Tannehill. I believed in the right to speak out, the right to dissent. That's what the First Amendment's for. I was on public property, peaceful protest, no permit required. That's when Deputy Timmy Pruitt showed up. He wasn't wearing a badge, just a blank space on his uniform. He asked for a permit. I said I didn't need one. I had the First Amendment. He asked again. He told me if I didn't leave, that I would be arrested. I asked him what I was going to be arrested for. He said disorderly conduct for standing on a public sidewalk with the state flag. I told him I was going to take that video and go straight to my attorney. Before I left to walk off, I asked for his badge number. Moments later, I was in cuffs on the ground. The arrest was on camera. The video spread. The public reacted. The sheriff's office felt pressure. While I was cuffed, my ex was filing papers in Chancery Court. One hand held the cuffs. The other filed to keep me from my daughter. The timing wasn't random. It never is. May 2nd, 2017, at 10:21 p.m. Deputy John Prince gets a text. He's flying a drone. Deputies head to the address. They say they saw something. No evidence tying it to me. No recovered drone, no pictures, just a report. May 8th, Ricky Weaver calls, says I came by his house for the state flag that I just so happened to be arrested with on May 1st. Threatens trespass complaints if I come back. May 9th, Lamar Adams complains I posted his cell phone number and encouraged people to call, claiming that he was the property owner. Shit. Mic turned off. Claiming he was the property owner over the property that Timmy Pruitt, Sheriff's Deputy Timmy Pruitt, was staying. Screenshots created, posts later deleted. Another piece in the file. Every call, every post, every report. They were building a record. I just didn't know it yet. May 16th, 2017. A Tuesday. I'd publicly announced I would address City Hall that night. I followed the procedures. I intended to speak during public comment to redress the city leaders for removing the state flag from public property. When I arrived, the board announced a rule. Anyone wanting to speak had to put their name on a list in advance. I had already complied with the rules. I was there to speak and redress the officials. But the rule, the list, rubbed me the wrong way. I made it known I would speak. I wasn't there for permission. When my turn came, Mayor Pat Patterson adjourned the meeting and went to executive session. He cited a procedural rule and claimed that I needed to put my name on the list and I could speak at the next event. He abruptly adjourned the public comment portion of the meeting. As the officials were leaving, I stood up. I pointed to each member of the board as I walked, as they started to file out, making my message clear to every one of them. I called them what I believe they were: cultural Marxist. I did not single out Robin Tannehill. Beyond the same gesture I made to all of them, I pointed at each member in turn. That was my choice, to make the point equally. Mayor Patterson ordered me out. Oxford police escorted me from the building. No arrest that night, just removal, just silencing. But understand this plainly. May 16th was a City Hall event. Is the music up? Hold on. I don't hear any music. All right. Some of y'all are some nasty motherfuckers. Just, I mean, it's just clearly miserable just to wake up and just be a miserable fuck every hour of your life. I'm glad you chose to do it on my live stream and, you know, where I can actually monetize your stupidity. Okay. Fuck it. Let's see. Where did I leave off? May 19th, 2017. A Friday. Phyllis Crowder filed a petition for citation of contempt. Allegations: erratic, volatile, threatening behavior, drug and alcohol abuse, possession of a weapon. The petition asked for a psychological evaluation and possibly involuntary commitment. They were drawing me as dangerous, unstable, a threat. Later on May 19th, I went to a bar off the square in Oxford called Frank and Marley's. I didn't have a problem with Todd. However, his wife, Ashley, had issues with me from the last time whenever I was in business-to-business sales. I was trying to smooth over some issues from the past. As I was sitting at the bar, I asked Ashley to come over and speak to me. She refused in a very rude way. And I said I thought it was fucked up because I was a paying customer. She came over and grabbed my tray of chicken wings I'd just paid cash money for, threw them in the garbage, and refused to give me a refund. I walked out of the bar. I did what probably most people would do, and I asked people not to go there. I shared my story. I asked people to boycott Frank and Marley's. The reaction was immediate. May 20th, 2017, Saturday. I purchased an AR-15 from Larry Watkins via Arms List. Met outside of Jackson, Mississippi. Why? Because of a death threat reported to me. Because I wanted to protect myself. Because I have a Second Amendment right. Remember that date, May 20th. It matters. May 22nd, 2017, Monday. 2 days after I bought the AR-15, deputies pull me over. They serve me an ex parte temporary restraining order filed by Robin and Ray Tannehill. Ex parte, granted without notice, without a hearing, without my chance to respond. A judge signed it based on their allegations alone. The petition cited posts, videos, and the AR-15 photo from May 20th. It asked the court to keep me away, to silence my social media, to keep me from speaking to or approaching the Tannehills. A sitting Board of Aldermen member running for mayor used the civil process to lock down political speech days before an election. That order was issued after the May 16th censorship, but it was a separate legal instrument with its own chilling effect. May 24th, 2017. Todd Lynch files an aggravated stalking complaint saying I threatened him with an AR-15 On or before May 8th, 12 days before I bought the rifle. The timeline doesn't align. The charge is impossible if you accept dates as stated. That same day, I went to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Oxford. I reported the death threat made against me. I described the pattern of coordinated legal pressure. I asked for federal attention. This was a classic prior restraint used against me. After all, I was on the docket to speak out at City Hall at the upcoming City Hall meeting, which just so happened to double down as Election Day. May 25th, 2017, Thursday. The FBI interviewed me. I gave them evidence about the death threat. I explained why I bought the AR-15 rifle. I explained the coordination I'd been sensing. They had two agents in the room. One was taking notes and one was asking questions. A 302 report, or an investigative report, most certainly was being generated. Video evidence was recorded. I left thinking someone in federal law enforcement was listening. Later, that 302 report and video would vanish from the record, as if the interview never happened, as if the evidence never existed. May 26, 2017, Friday, 9:13 a.m. I received an email from MCB Quantico FOIA at usmc.mil. My FOIA request. DON-USMC-2017-005333 had been fully granted. I got the documents proving the Marine Corps changed the policy after Bradley Faust's death. Keep in mind, this was also after I sent the final legal demand letter to Headquarters Marine Corps Quantico just the day before, the evening of the 25th, to First Lieutenant Talia Bastian. Hours after getting the grant from the Marine Corps that they were turning over all records. Hours later, I was arrested. Aggravated stalking, a felony, based on Todd Lynch's complaint, filed 2 days earlier. The charging document said I had put the Lynches in fear of their life with an AR-15 on or before May 8th, 2017. May 8th, again, before I purchased the rifle on May 20th. I couldn't have threatened anyone with a weapon I didn't own. The charge was factually impossible. Yet there I was, booked into Lafayette County Detention Center. May 30th, 2017, Tuesday. 96 hours in custody before my initial appearance before Justice Court Judge Carolyn Bell. I tried to present exculpatory evidence. The judge advised me of my right to remain silent and cut me off. Bond, $150,000, 3 times higher than the recommended maximum for a crime that could see twice the amount of time that did. No criminal record, nothing. That same day, the sheriff's office produced a post-arrest narrative created 4 days after my arrest, not contemporaneous with it. When I later requested the original affidavit from May 26th, they sent me the May 30th narrative instead. Later that day, I was taken to Chancery Court for the Tannehill restraining order. The hearing was continued so I could get counsel. It was an ambush. Judge Glenn Alderson extended the restraining order. Ray Tannehill came through the courtroom door. I told him what I thought of him. He approached, threatened to bash my head in. Major John Hill stepped between us. Ray Tannehill left without arrest. No charges for threatening a man in custody. Prior to adjourning, Tannehill also brought it up to Judge Glenn Alderson that I was on the upcoming Board of Aldermen meeting on June 6th on Election Day, and they did not want me there. Judge Alderson said that if I happened to be out of jail, that I was not to show up, or they were to arrest me on site for violation of the restraining order. This is in a police report. 31 days. That's all it took. May 1st, arrested for peaceful protest while my ex filed custody papers. May 2nd, false drone surveillance allegations. May 8th, flag incident leads to a complaint. May 9th, phone harassment allegation. May 16th, silenced at City Hall, prevented from speaking about the flag and removed by police. May 19th, petition for contempt filed by my ex. The chicken wing incident at Frank and Marley's with Ashley Lynch, me calling for a boycott. May 20th, I purchased an AR-15 in response to a death threat. May 22nd, the Tannehill ex parte restraining order. Prior restraints chilling effect begins. May 24th, Todd Lynch files a complaint claiming threats on or before May 8th. May 25th, FBI interview. 302 investigative report in the video later vanishes. May 26th, FOIA victory. Actually, skip over the evening of May 25th. Final legal demand letter sent to the Marine Corps, the headquarters, Marine Corps, Quantico. I had an attorney. I was ready to file a lawsuit for violations of FOIA and not turning over the records. Apparently it was enough. The very next morning on May 26th, get an email back from headquarters Marine Corps explaining, them admitting that they were acknowledging they were behind, couple hours later, another email granting the full release. Hours later, arrested on an impossible charge. 4 days later, initial hearing. Bond set at $150,000. Courthouse threats on me. Continued hearings. The pattern is clear. Every time I tried to speak, I was silenced. Every time I exercised a right, I was punished. Every time I got close to the truth, they moved the goalpost. The May 16th City Hall incident stands on its own. A citizen on the agenda, prevented from speaking during public comment, removed by the police. That public censorship, combined later with the Tannehill ex parte order, and then the criminal filing, formed the environment that led to my arrest. It was not the restraining order that caused the May 16th censorship. The council meeting was an independent act of suppression, but the restraining order, issued days later, helped solidify the narrative against me. 4 days after the restraining order, I was arrested. The charge relied on a timeline that did not match reality. That was not a coincidence. That was fabrication. In episode 3, I'll tell you what happened next. The guilty plea I was coerced into making. 5 years probation. Banishment from Oxford and Lafayette County for 5 years. And worse, signing of a covenant to not sue that I was forced into signing. In the legal battle that consumed the next 7 years of my life. This is the RICO tapes. This is my story. And it's just the beginning. Let's see. Where is... And of course, here's episode 1, for those that haven't seen it.
May 2008. The name Camp Devil Dog might sound like something out of a war movie. But to us, it was just another Marine Corps training base. An isolated post where the days blended into one another. And air carried the smell of sweat, dust, and gun oil. And the rules were as much a part of life as breathing. On that particular night, I was assigned to a roving post. Roving meant motion. You moved through your assigned area in regular intervals, stopping at checkpoints, scanning for anything out of place, In training environments, the most dangerous thing you usually encountered was boredom. But boredom wasn't on the schedule that night. The Marine assigned to us armory watch was Lance Corporal Bradley Faust. He wasn't particularly outspoken, not someone you'd pick out in a crowd, but not invisible either. Like many of us, he carried burdens that weren't visible on the surface. As armory watch, he had access to the weapons. That's what the position meant. It was a responsibility that the Corps took seriously, entrusting Marines with guarding the very tools of our profession. The night air was still, punctuated only by the occasional call of distant wildlife and the familiar sounds of a military base at night, generators humming, the occasional vehicle passing, boots on the gravel as Marines moved between posts. I had just completed my check of the eastern perimeter when it happened. No one saw it coming. No warning signs that night. No whispered confessions. Just the sound, that unmistakable sound of an M16 set to 3-round burst. In training environments, gunfire was tightly controlled. Live rounds at that hour in that place were never part of the plan. Not only was I close enough to hear it, but I was also close enough to see it. Close enough to get there quickly, but not quickly enough. The scene was something you don't forget. The way the human body collapses when it's no longer alive. The smell of cordite in the air. The weapon still near his hand. The armory racks standing silently behind him, like mute witnesses. Lance Corporal Bradley Faust had made a decision from which there was no return. Within hours, the officers were there. Not just the on-duty supervisors, but higher-ranking men whose boots didn't usually touch the concrete outside their offices. They took control, ordered Marines back to their quarters, and secured the scene. The base became a flurry of activity. Medical personnel, military police, chaplains moving with purpose through spaces usually defined by routine and order. When the paperwork was done, it said training accident. That label carried weight. It wasn't just semantics. A suicide could mean loss of death benefits for Faust's family. A training accident could preserve them. At least that was the justification we were given. But in labeling it that way, they'd also rewritten reality. I watched as they sanitized the scene, not just of physical evidence, but of truth itself. The official narrative began to take shape before Faust's body had even been removed. A narrative that would protect the institution at the expense of honesty. Senior officers spoke in hushed tones about unfortunate incidents and operational security. Phrases that served to distance everyone from what had actually happened. A Marine, one of our own, had taken his life while on duty. That was the first time I saw how truth could be edited. How the official truth could be made to serve an agenda. In the days that followed, We weren't encouraged to discuss what happened. Faust's personal effects disappeared from his quarters. His name became something mentioned only in whispers. The machinery of institutional self-preservation moved with remarkable efficiency, transforming a suicide into an accident, a personal tragedy into an administrative inconvenience. I stayed in the Corps after that, but I wasn't the same. That night planted something in me. A distrust, a refusal to take official statements at face value. I began to notice other instances where reality was adjusted to fit preferred narratives. Small at first, then increasingly significant. Training incidents where safety violations were downplayed. Disciplinary actions that seemed more about protecting certain individuals than maintaining standards. Equipment failures attributed to operator error rather than maintenance deficiencies. By 2011, I was discharged. The paperwork said alcohol rehabilitation failure. The Corps made it sound like the drinking was the disease, but I knew better. The drinking was just a bandage on something deeper. PTSD, though I couldn't get it recognized because the incident that triggered it didn't officially exist as a suicide. The system that had rewritten Bradley Faust's death was equally efficient at reframing my struggles as simple misconduct, rather than the consequence of witnessing something that had shaken my faith in the institution I'd committed to serve. Years passed. The memory didn't. One day, I decided to push back. I filed a Freedom of Information Act request, not just for closure, but for proof. I wanted the records on that night, the internal communications, the after-action reports. If the Corps had quietly changed its standard operating procedures because of what had happened, I wanted it in writing, and I got it. Buried in the pages was the change. No more live ammunition for Armory Watch at Marine Corps training facilities. It was an unspoken admission that the training accident wasn't an accident at all. The policy change acknowledged what the official record denied: that Lance Corporal Bradley Faust had died by suicide, and that the circumstances that allowed it needed to be prevented in the future. That FOIA request didn't go unnoticed. Emails started showing up. Some were straightforward denials of certain documents. Others felt more personal. Some carried undertones, the kind you recognize if you dealt with people in power who want you to stop digging. They weren't random. The names tied back to people with connections. Law enforcement, political figures, individuals who on paper had no reason to care about my FOIA request regarding a Marine who had died years earlier at a training facility far from Mississippi. By May 2017, the pressure wasn't just coming from the shadows. It was out in the open. Oxford, Mississippi was in the middle of a quiet political shift. The state flag, the Mississippi flag, had been removed from city property. That wasn't done by accident or slow bureaucratic erosion. It was the result of a push led by then Board of Aldermen member Robin Tannehill. She authored the referendum. The board approved. The mayor signed off. And in a matter of days, something that had flown over city property for generations was gone. Now Tannehill was running for mayor, unopposed. Election day was set for June 6, 2017. That spring, I took my protest to the public square. I didn't carry the American flag. I carried the Mississippi state flag, the one they'd taken down, as a direct statement. I believed in the right to speak out, the right to dissent, the right to be visible. That's what the First Amendment is for. But in Oxford, visibility comes with a price. On May 1st, 2017, I crossed paths with Lafayette County Sheriff's Deputy Timmy Pruitt. He wasn't wearing his badge, just the blank space on his uniform where it should have been. That absence spoke volumes before he even said a word. The encounter was brief, but heated. I asserted my rights. He gave me an order to leave. I asked on what grounds. He told me if I didn't leave, I'd go to jail. Moments later, he made good on that threat. The arrest was caught on camera. That video spread fast, shared by large platforms and pages that reached audiences far beyond Lafayette County. The public reaction was swift and overwhelmingly in my favor. Pruitt's actions were criticized loudly and often. I was told he'd been placed on administrative leave, though some called it a vacation, while county officials decided how to handle the fallout. But the timing was no coincidence. While I was being arrested, my ex, Phyllis Liz Crowder, and her attorney were in Lafayette County Chancery Court filing papers to block me from seeing or speaking to my only child at the time, my daughter Lydia. One hand held the cuffs, while they robbed me of my rights as a father. The rest of May was a steady escalation. The protests didn't stop. The legal moves against me intensified. The email threats kept coming. Surveillance became harder to ignore. The city's political machinery was engaged, and I was in its direct path. On May 26th, everything was in motion. The pressure, the hostility, the calculated steps taken against me, all of it converged. And that's where my story, as you'll hear on the RICO tapes and in my book, American Injustice, begins. What happened to Lance Corporal Bradley Faust that night at Camp Devil Dog set me on a path I never anticipated. His death, officially sanitized, institutionally reframed, opened my eyes to how power operates when it believes no one's watching. The quest for truth about his suicide has led me to question other official narratives, to challenge other instances where reality was being rewritten to serve those in authority. I couldn't have known then that my pursuit of truth would eventually cost me my freedom, my family, and nearly a decade of my life. But looking back, I can see how that night in 2008 was truly the first domino The moment when I began to understand that official truth and actual truth are often separated by a gulf filled with power, politics, and institutional self-preservation.
What's your badge number, by the way?
We stand for freedom, liberty, and the Constitution. We will combat all those who are corrupt. We are America's insurance policy. We will not see our republic fall. We are everywhere. We are the 3%. While that motto energizes me to the fullest and truly is one of my favorites, it's way more than just your run-of-the-mill motto. That is a key motto among a band of brothers that I became a part of back in 2017 called the 3%ers. I guess from an unofficial standpoint, I became part of them back in 2008 when I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I would bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I would obey the orders of the President of the United States. But hey, who's counting time? Especially at a time where there's more of it than we know what to do with in light of this latest pandemic, the coronavirus. If anything, even somewhat positive came from the government intervening with businesses and with the issuances of stay-at-home orders. It was that it gave me some time to move forward on preparing everything, to come forward with my story from 2017. When anyone is backed far enough into the corner, to a point of not having any perceivable breathing room, instilled human instinct is to fight back. That proverbial last straw that was hanging by a thread broke not so long ago when for the third time in 3 years, my almost 6-year-old daughter was used as a chess piece against me in a staged war of the courts by her mother, who in my opinion should have been committed to a mental asylum many years ago. But that's a different story for a different day. This is about justice, but not just for me. Because at the end of the day, no matter how cut and dry the evidence is that I was framed by a ridiculously corrupt local government, taken over by some of the most heartless, careless, and quite frankly dangerous people when banded together the way they did back in 2017. I say that with 100% full confidence. And while some may not side with me, we all know the extents the Democrat Party will go in order to ensure a win. So be it if morals and decency get completely tossed away. We've seen example after example of it over the last 5 years. So my story, when all laid out, should not come as a complete and total shock to most, although the particular details of everything are absolutely disgusting. And as such, these people should absolutely be brought to justice. And I would hope that after hearing the details, the FBI would conduct a non-biased, thorough investigation into the facts of everything in order to do just that. It was not long after President Trump took office and all the proof had surfaced in regards to the extreme corruption shown by the Democrats to obstruct and break any law and moral code they needed in order to accomplish their set-out agenda. There were many people that thought I was crazy for taking the counter stance that I took, standing up
for conservative values, but ultimately for standing up for our constitutional rights and those rights which make us the constitutional republic that we are. I never had an issue standing up and speaking my mind on any issue. And while I may have disagreed myself with the views of others, I always believed they had a right to voice their opinions. There were many loudmouth liberals that called me every name under the sun, even threatened. My own family was confused as to why I so adamantly held firm on my beliefs and wasn't afraid to walk into a lion's den of those who had a different opinion, and a big chunk of them sharing similar opinions of others in the room, being that they didn't want me there and they wanted me silenced. That leads on to one of my favorite quotes by a man named Steve Jobs, founder of a company called Apple. While Steve and I probably came from two completely different sides of the political spectrum, I can find vast amounts of appreciation in his key quote, which reads as follows. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square hole, the ones who see things differently. They're not quite fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward, and while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. I would say that I've always been patriotic to the core, and that dedication and true patriotism peaked in me for the first time when I enlisted into the United States Marine Corps back in December of 2007. It would peak again at an even higher level, just shy of a decade later, when our Constitution and the very things I believed in and took an oath to defend came under siege. And all in about a month's time, my rights were laid siege to, and all of it ushered in by a well-formed group of co-conspirators and obstructionists, which are two fancy and lengthy names for the types of disgusting, low-life criminals these people truly are. See, I was framed on a crime I did not commit. I was framed on a crime I could not possibly have committed. I was presumed guilty until proven innocent. And due process under color of law, and that which all citizens are to be afforded under the United States Constitution, was never given to me. The only thing these animals had going in their favor was fear-mongering and coercion tactics, the left-wing media propaganda, and the assumed power given to them under their appointed authorities. The craziest part is that all but maybe one or two still hold their same appointed or elected positions to this day. But with most of America fed up with scandals such as this atrocity, the time is now for true justice to be rendered, and for me to clear my name in an attempt to get my life back, my rights back, and to truly walk from that city and county knowing that it wasn't for nothing, and that justice was served by a non-biased and fair judicial system that respects and preserves due process and isn't out for a tacky decimation of another's rights and life for political purposes and social gain. I'd like to thank you for following along with my story.
You know, I am audio and video recording, Mr. Fred.
I don't care. You have a permit to be here.
The First Amendment, actually.
You have a permit to be here.
No.
All right, you got to leave.
Why is that?
Because you're going to jail if you don't.
I'm going to jail just for standing out here and
That's
holding
right.
the flag.
You demonstrate. You have to leave.
Okay, where does that super?
Let me just. One more time.
Can I just ask you? Can I ask you a question?
I'm gonna ask you one more time to leave. If not, I'm gonna carry you to jail for disorderly conduct.
Okay, I'll leave and take this straight to my attorney then.
Okay.
That's you can't threaten me with my First Amendment rights. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, Mr.
Count to
Pruitt.
3 to leave. 1.
This fucking city is ass fucking backwards. Ass fucking backwards. Y'all see that? Hey, what's your badge number, by the way, Deputy Pruitt? No, I'm not. I'm leaving. I was asking you. I was asking you.
Riding with the Outlaw is a real documentation of the true chain of events that began in 2017 and ultimately set the stage for a story like none other. It's much more than just my story. It's my journey. It's not something I write, but rather something I live on a daily basis. Riding with the Outlaw is the true ongoing saga of a framed patriotic American. A patriot defiantly refusing to accept defeat, and in turn single-handedly taking on an enormous stand in what gives off the feeling of a modern-day David versus Goliath battle. It's a battle of right versus wrong, and good versus evil, against the corrupt, deep state swamp that has destroyed many lives, including my own, back in 2017. I put it all on the line, as there's no other option. The stand I'm taking is not just for me. It's not just for my girls. It's not just for my family. It's all of that, but even more. It's for the sake of America. Although my story truly started when I was born, my story is talked about on Riding with the Outlaw started when I was politically framed for a crime I didn't commit, nor could I have committed back in 2017. I was coerced under stress to plea out in order to see and ultimately get my daughter back into my life. The entire time treated like one of the worst of criminals for simply being a patriot and constitutionalist who took a stand to protect our constitutional rights. That, along with protecting the historical monuments and the state flag.
Hey, man.
Hey, you gotta move that.
I'll move when I talk to Joey. Joey knows I'm out here waiting. He needs to come out and talk to me. I'll move when I talk to Joey.
Say what?
When Joey wants to talk to me, I'll move. Otherwise, I'm not breaking any law just for parking in a spot that says reserved for the sheriff's department.
One more time.
I'm here at the sheriff's department.
Move, or you will go to jail for disorderly.
I'm not being disordered.
Okay.
I'm moving my car. I'm moving my car. I was moving my car. Ah! Really? Ah! I said I was moving my car. Oh! Stop! Ah!
Mr. Reardon, did Deputy Dixon ever tell you to put your hands up? No. Did he ever tell you to stop? No. Did he ever tell you you're under arrest? No. I'm talking about during the confrontation in the parking lot.
I never audibly heard the command, "You're under arrest." Never heard the command to stop.
Did you audio record that interaction?
Yes, sir.
And have you provided me a copy of that recording?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to play that recording for the court. I know these are just background noises and stuff, but Mr. Reardon, do you recognize that as a recording you took of leading up to the events on December 28th, 2020?
Yes, sir. And that honk was Deputy Tidwell locking his car after he got out. was Courtney Dixon.
Do you understand that that was a request to move your vehicle?
Yes.
Oh, when I talk to Joe. Joe? Is that your voice, Mr. Reardon?
Yes, sir.
Get him out of your way. He needs to come out and talk to you. I'll move when I talk to Joey. When Joey wants to talk to me, I'll move. Otherwise, I'm not breaking any law just for parking in a spot that says reserved for the sheriff department. I'm here at the sheriff's department. Move. Okay. I would have asked you, what did the sign say that you were parked in front of?
Reserved for Sheriff's Department.
Okay, and you just said you were there for what?
I was there to see the sheriff in regards to my daughter.
Joey East.
What are you doing out here in the parking lot?
I needed to get a little Q&A with you.
I don't do Q&As.
You don't do Q&As?
No.
Oh, can you answer a few questions for me?
No, I can't.
Why were you parked in that spot?
I parked in that spot because the driver's side window was knocked out of my car. I did have a tarp there. Where I was parked, I could not hardly see when the sheriff was coming out through the rear view mirror. I couldn't see the side view mirror, and I simply wanted to speak with the sheriff because I couldn't get a response from him through email.
Why is the county not wanting to comply on the public records request? You told me.
You probably have to ask the county, man.
You told me that if I submitted it, y'all would comply. That was the last time that we spoke.
I told you we'd look at it.
And why did you think that sign didn't prohibit you from parking there?
Well, there's the jail and the sheriff's department. If I figured the sign would have said for sheriff's deputies only. It had to have said authorized for official vehicles only or for sheriff's deputies only. I would have inferred it to be that. It's saying sheriff's department, reserved for sheriff's department. I was there on what I felt was official business to address the sheriff about a redress, about a grievance.
Joey has to come out your way. He needs to come out and talk to you. I'll move when I talk to Joey. When Joey wants to talk to me, I'll move. Otherwise, I'm not breaking any law just for parking in a spot that says reserved for the sheriff department. I'm here at the sheriff's department. Move. So you go to jail this morning. I'm not being disorderly. I'm moving my car. I'm moving my car. I'm moving my car. Matt, is that a true and accurate reporting of the events we've seen on the Sheriff's Department's video camera from the jail?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear on that Officer Dixon give you any commands to stop, put your hands up, or anything like that?
No, sir, I didn't. And
what did you know? Did you know why he was stepping towards you?
I just felt as if an aggressor was coming towards me when I was simply trying to find the answer as to how this would be disorderly when I wasn't acting in a disorderly way. So I thought that I was there to see the sheriff about my daughter.
Were you holding things in your hands?
I had my cell phones in my hands.
Listen to it one more time to see if we can. I want to talk to Joey. When Joey wants to talk to me, I'll move. Otherwise, I'm not breaking any law just for parking in a spot that says reserved for the sheriff department. I'm here at the sheriff's department. Move. So you go to jail this morning. I'm not being disorderly. I'm moving my car. I'm moving my car. I'm moving my car. In the report of Mr. Have you read Mr. Dixon's report?
I have.
In there, he says that you said, in quotes, no, 3 times.
That's correct.
Did you say that?
No, sir.
Does that recording confirm that you didn't say those things?
Yes, sir.
In his report, it says, in Tidwell's report, it says Deputy Dixon told Reardon to place his hands behind his back. Did you hear that on your recording?
Not one time.
Did you edit that recording?
No, sir.
Sheriff, is this really the position you're going to take? Why won't you even answer that?
Ambushes, so.
Look, hey, y'all will not respond to anything. Any email, any public records request, anything. I want to know why. I am holding our county officials accountable for this. You know I was framed. We've already had that discussion, Joey.
There's been some mention of some emails you would send to Joey. Just tell the court what you were trying to get a hold of. And I'm sorry, I'm being very informal, Sheriff East. Tell the judge what you're trying to get, Sheriff East.
Well, for approximately 12 months, the 12 months leading up to that, the mother of my minor child, who was 6 at the time, I had not seen her in 12 months. She had actually, prior to that, it was a false allegation of rape that was levied against me by the mother of my child, who then decided to live out a 12-month lie that Department of Child Services.
I'm going to impose an objection. What's the relevance? We've got chancery courts in every county in this state, and not to mention Lafayette. We've got the luxury of having 2 chancellors here, and I think they'll give you an audience whatever you want as relates to child custody, child rearing, and the law, family laws, and I don't know why we've got to litigate that here, and I don't know, quite frankly, why he would be contacting the sheriff in that regard.
Your number was correct. I tried calling earlier. The deputy just got back a few minutes ago and spoke to her, saw your daughter, she's fine. Spoke to Phyllis.
Yeah.
And she stated that she was following what the child custody services were telling her, and you could not see the child, and she just waited to see what the court did.
I think if you'll let him answer the question, he'll tell you why he's contacting the sheriff. But as to relevance, there was suggestions by the sheriffs that he might have been there to ambush or do some bad. This goes to responding to that to show that his intention was not there to do any bad, but to try to enlist the law as he had been instructed by another department.
The Child Custody Services closed it out and said that she was she was making false claims. They closed everything out. They investigated it. That's incorrect.
I don't doubt anything you're saying, but that's what she told us, and said no, she did not want you over there.
I don't want to go back to Mom. I want to stay here for a long time. May I stay one more night?
How exciting.
Oh no, I can't.
Stop listening, please. You know what won't listen.
But I miss you. I don't know when I can go home.
It's tough because you couldn't come over here for a year.
That, but to try to enlist the law as he had been instructed by another department of the state to do in order to obtain some visitation rights.
I'm going to sustain as far as I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole of explaining any wrongdoing or what he feels, what is the reason for the issues. I'm fine with hearing why he was there.
Because it's important for you to know that here lately over the last year, one of our fundamental rights as Americans, freedom of speech, has come under attack big time. Big time. And you know what? When freedom of speech comes under attack, the only thing to fall back on is freedom of expression. Just like you with your purple glasses, okay?
It falls into his care and jurisdiction and responsibility, if you will.
That was one of your ringleaders right there. That was one of your ringleaders right there.
Matt, did you plead guilty?
You know that y'all coerced me.
Did you plead guilty?
Y'all coerced me under stress and used my daughter.
To your knowledge, there anyone else on the out there in the parking lot when this event occurred?
No, sir.
We have seen on the video when Officer Dixon kind of gets a hold of you. You kind of go into the defensive position. Tell the judge what you were doing, why you were doing that.
So in my left breast pocket, I had my digital audio recorder. I simply I wanted to retain the recording for the purposes of trial. So I simply had switched off the recording so that it saved the recording, and I wouldn't have to worry about it getting damaged or about anything worse happening to it.
What about you had your cell phones in your hands? What'd you do with those?
Whenever I was taken to the ground, it was Deputy Dick. One of the phones had come out of my hand when I was tossed to the ground. The other phone, Deputy Dixon grabbed it from my hand and chunked it at the ground.
Did when the recording ends there that we just listened to, that was because you manually turned it off?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you're in your chest working on your recorder?
Yes, sir. I just do my breast pocket. I just flip the switch to turn off the recorder. That's the way it saves the recording.
That day, did you send him emails while you were sitting in the parking lot?
Yes, sir.
You want the court to see those emails?
I would like the court to see those emails. I think they're very relevant.
The emails that you sent, the first email, what's its date?
It was Sunday, the 27th of December. And
is that the day before this incident?
Subject, criminal conspiracy.
Is that the day before this incident?
Yes, sir.
All right. In the second email, what's its date? And give its time too, please.
Second email is Monday, the 28th at 4:32 p.m.
Okay. Was that sent before or after you got to the Sheriff's Department jail parking lot?
That was before.
All right. Then the third email, what's its date and time?
Third email is Monday, the 28th at 5:06 p.m.
All right. Was that before or after you got to the jail Sheriff's Department parking lot?
That was after.
We asked that the recording, the audio recording, I'll have a thumb drive with it on there, be marked as Defense Exhibit 1. These be marked as cumulative.
I got an email from him earlier that day. He wanted to discuss something. I got all the details. I get emails from him quite often, usually on a weekly or every 2 weeks basis. Later that day, I got a second email from him. He wanted to see me. I came to the office. I didn't get back to the office probably 5:30. I don't know when it happened. I got up in Chancery Court in a board meeting, and when I came back, as I pulled in, I noticed that a man's car was a little black hatchback-like car was parked over facing Jackson Avenue. And so I pulled in, I got out of my truck, went to the back of it, and stood there because I was assuming he probably wanted to see me because he was sitting in a couple of emails. Stood there for a few seconds. Man never got out. Usually he's there waiting on me if I come. So I went ahead and go inside, got in the office. And as I was sitting down, I heard a high-pitched scream. I actually assumed that there was someone being assaulted, a female being assaulted outside.
When Joey wants to talk to me, I'll move. Otherwise, I'm not breaking any law just for parking in a spot that says reserved for the Sheriff's Department. I'm here at the Sheriff's Department.
Or you will go to jail for disorderly.
I'm not being disordered. I'm moving my car! I'm moving my car! I was moving my car! Ah! Ah! I thought I was moving my car! Oh! Stop! Ah!
Oh, when he until past Black Hill Soul, and really exited the vehicle, I said, man, you're not parked there. Well, but when you went out there, did you know there was anybody in the vehicle? At the time, no. You went out there Called me, he said, hey, if somebody actually, yes, yeah. So Mr. Beard, we identified earlier, gets out of the vehicle, he gets out of the vehicle. I said, man, you're not part of it. He says, I will not move my speak to the sheriff. I said, man, you're not part of that. He said, once again, after giving him another command, I said, I'll tell you one last time, move the vehicle because this is a designated area of jurisdictions. He said, I will not talk to us speaker. I will not move my speak to the sheriff. I said, put your hands behind that. You're going to be on the way. This is what we're going to do. He began to run away, chanting that he needs to speak to the sheriff or things of that nature. And he was screaming it loudly as I gave chase behind him. Deputy Ethan Tibble gave chase also. He was running sideways, so it wasn't like a long chase, but it was short. And we restrained him, took him down, and as we were trying to place him in cuffs, he was in like a fetal position, down on his knees, and so Ethan Tibble got on his legs to hold his legs because I was keeping him screaming. Well, I tried to get my hands from under his chest because he was tight. He had his arms like he was very tense. So as I was reaching under him, I stuck up my nose. I had scratches on my nose trying to get my hands from under him from the pain. We finally got him in cuffs. I had to remove his cell phone and things up in his hand. I don't know if he had two or he may have had two cell phones. I had to remove them from his hands before we placed him in cuffs.
Operation Silence the Press.
So you're tuning in live for National Fuck the U.S. Marshals Day. We the People News.
Kidnapped quick, no warrant, no case. Camera smashed out, tripod in my face. First Amendment written, they erased, but the court said Cohen already placed. Hey! Operation Silence the Press, they plotted, they guessed, but the truth don't rest. It beats in my chest from Cohen and Cali to Lafayette stress. Rights don't vanish cause the marshals press. Broke my gear, try to kill my breath. Shackle me cold, start me near death, but the voice survives and I stand confessed. I expose what they fear. Silence the press. August 25th, courthouse stone. Sign in my hands, I stood alone. Words from the past, Cohen's tone. Fuck the marshals, carved in bone. Hated news and badge with a snarl. Threatened my cam, said seize it all. I stepped back slow, obeyed the call. Then he lung slammed hard, I fall. Tripod cracked, my gimbal broke. Camera crushed and the government choked. First Amendment, bled in the smoke, but the record stands. I spoke. Operation Silence the Press, they plotted, they guessed, but the truth don't rest. It beats in my chest from Cohen and Cali to Lafayette stress. Rights don't vanish cause the marshals press. Broke my gear, try to kill my breath. Shackle me cold, start me near death, but the voice survives and I stand confessed. I expose what they fear. Silence the press. to a cell, chest punched tight, couldn't breathe deep, heart raced all night, knock his arm back just to fight for air. Now he screams assault while I'm gasping there. I tick slow, no sirens near, paramedics mock, no mercy here. Hospital cold, the truth unclear, delay in the jail, they jeered. Pastor Olivier, cuff cut bone. I asked what's the charge, he had none shown, just a hole for the feds. My rights dethroned, that's kidnapping law in a danger zone. 40 pages black, lies in disguise. I yeah, hit the scheme, but the scars don't lie. Laugh all you want, but the tape don't die. Operation fail, truth multiplies. Jailhouse freezing, blanket torn, no food served, constitution scorned, wrist bones twisted, pain reborn, but the fight lit brighter in the darkest storm. This ain't 30 days, this is principle strong. 54 years, the court said wrong. One man's lyric, another man's song, and I spit that truth in a world gone wrong. Cross they plots, they stitch and weave. Oxford to Galveston, tricks deceive, but you can't erase what the people believe. The first don't fade when the lions grieve. Operation Silence the Press, they plotted, they guessed, but the truth don't rest. It beats in my chest, from Cohen and Cali to Lafayette stress. Rights don't vanish cause the marshals press. Broke my gear, tried to kill my breath. Shackle me cold, start me near death, but the voice survives and I stand confessed. I expose what they fear. Silence the press.
Operation Silence the Press.